What's up, everybody? This week I'm joined by Sarah Connolly as we sit and talk about the childishly named, but surprisingly deep, Dookie by Green Day. That and a whole lot more is to come, because maybe I got no motivation when I'm all by myself. Welcome to the show. And so here we are again, guys. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 5 of the podcast. I don't know. It's 5. Hope everybody is doing well. John here, joined by Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing?
Hello. I am good.
It's good to have you back on.
Yo, since the last time I've recorded with you, you've changed setups.
Yeah, I know.
You've changed locations and setups. And so this seems like all kinds of professional now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a little booth thing. It's cool.
Yeah, headphones and,
I know.
Because what people might not understand is the first 3.5 seasons were recorded in our bedroom.
Yeah.
Or in my office at work if I had somebody there, and it was a nightmare to do. Now I'm finally glad I've got a space. We're still nowhere near finished in here.
Oh, no.
So that's one of the reasons why you see all the flags in the video game. So it's so what have you been up to? I mean, I know what you've been up to, but you have fans out there. Remember, we're huge in Sweden.
Oh, yeah. No, just doing some writing. Cool. And some graphic design work and herding cats, which translates into taking care of all God's children, and just surviving, dude.
Yeah. It's been fun though these last few weeks, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we've actually started to remove ourselves from situations that we were in, and we're doing good. I know it sounds like I'm rabbiting, but now I wanted to bring something up, and I know I don't know if you were aware of it or not. My use of the word guys a lot. I just want to clear that up because I've noticed some folks on the video game side of things are not. Why do I say guys all the time? Why do I say guys? That's my catch-all term that means everyone. It doesn't just really mean dudes. It just means everyone.
Okay, we'll change it to folks. Try to say folks.
I'll try and say folks.
Well, no, because folks is technically the all-inclusive term that one should use.
Yeah, and I mean it's not that I'm a malice, it's.
Oh no, I know this, but just so everybody, in the Yonderverse.
In the Yonderverse.
In the Yonderverse. That's right. Yonderverse.
So what? How do you feel about Spidey no longer being in the?
Universe? No. Since the last time we've talked, since the last time I have been on this show, Marvel has killed me many times over. In between Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame and now poor little Spidey, and I'm done. They carved my heart out with a spoon. So
well, yes. I think it's I saw a meme yesterday that was Tobey Maguire holding the number 3. Mm-hmm. And Tom Holland and whoever the other Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield just sitting there crying because they're not getting their third movie. Weird thing is, why do they keep rebooting Spider-Man? We're on our third Spider-Man now.
Sony kept doing it because they just wanted more money, and eventually they realized after the second Andrew Garfield one, I'm thinking it didn't do as well.
No.
So they realized that they were pretty much, there wasn't any point in them redoing it anymore, and then Marvel got their house in order and wanted to bring Spidey back into the MCU, which they did during Civil War.
Yeah.
Underoos. So,
I made up names.
I know, right? So they brought it back, and that was the whole point of Homecoming,
Okay, I gotcha.
Which was the first one out of the MCU. So, but now, Disney owns Marvel now, and Disney is all for keeping things going, but they want, even though Sony owns the rights, they want Sony to put down some of the money to on pre-production, and Sony's refusing. They just want to collect their check and not invest anything, and Disney's like, all right then. So,
and I mean, I can understand it coming from Sony's point of view as well, even though I don't agree with it. It's like,
Well, I mean, you're guaranteed to make money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it was before. I mean, I could see them not wanting to go out on their own and fully do a movie and take that full financial liability. But right now, Tom Holland and the MCU are hot.
Yeah.
I mean, and so now he can't even pop up in any of the other franchises.
No, like he can't. And I think, okay, I can understand where Sony's coming from in this because, right, imagine you own a lawnmower, right? You own this lawnmower and you bought it from your neighbor. And your neighbor one day says, hey.
I'm just thinking of our neighbor. Go ahead.
Right. And your neighbor says, hey, I'd like to use your lawnmower. I will pay you to use your lawnmower. Okay. And then after like 2 years of successfully mowing the yard, I go, can I have my lawnmower back? Or do you want to just share it? It's like, okay, we'll share it, but I'm going to need you to put a tank of gas in it every week.
Yeah, but no, that's not how it went.
Well, that's similar, though.
No, it's not. Because Sony made money. Like, Sony,
yeah, they did.
But Sony wasn't going to make any more movies.
No.
They were just sitting on these rights, and Marvel went and made them a butt ton of money.
Okay.
And so it's like, hey, we want to continue making you money. But this time, can you hop in on it a little bit? You know, help cover some of the upfront costs, and you're going to get more than repaid back?
We don't want to. It's our stuff that you were using. You paying us to use it. We don't have to kick into it. That's I guess where Sony's come from. Not that I'm defending them because Sony's evil.
You are, but it's okay.
Well, I'm just looking at it from the alternate side of view. You know what it is.
No, it's selfishness, though.
No, it is
and
selfishness.
it's ridiculousness.
Why make millions when you can make billions? I get it. You know, it's greed. It's completely and utterly greed. It's just, you know, I can understand from a business perspective where they're coming from.
No, it's not even that. Because from a business perspective, it makes sense to make the investment to get the return. But what it all boils down to is Sony still trying to prove that it's relevant.
Yeah.
They're still trying to prove we're going to do this because we still technically can.
Because we're Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And because most people, you know, Sony Entertainment, I mean, my word, it's yeah. I mean, with the changes in how things are viewed, with changes how things are listened to these days, you know, I can understand Sony, you know, trying to keep its relevancy. And I mean, they're even trying with their electronic stuff. I mean, with the streaming services, people might not realize, but with the streaming services, now nobody buys any Sony electronics anymore.
Well,
either.
yeah, even
except
TVs.
Except the PlayStation. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, even TVs, LG's killed them there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's whatever. Sony's going to do what Sony's going to do.
I think we haven't hit the end of this. I think there will be movement because once Sony realizes that they're not going to make any money off of this, they'll jump in. But Marvel will have them over a barrel at that point.
Well, yeah, because I mean, at some point they're going to need the money.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't Sony the ones that had those email leaks years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sony that had the email leaks. And not only the email leaks, they had the data breaches too.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they're still recovering from all that. So, I mean, at some point they're going to realize they need the money.
They're going to come cap in hand. Please take Spidey. Please, you know, and you know the way electronics are going right now in Japan and in Europe and in the United States, you know, Sony might be, you know, looking for protection for too much longer.
Well, I mean, at the end of
hypothetically,
right?
Apparently,
right. But I mean, it's greed because Sony didn't actually make. Part of the agreement was that they didn't actually make money off of the movies that he cameoed in. So they didn't make anything off of, and what it is they didn't make anything off Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay.
And that's what it is. I mean, you know.
They're smart enough for that. Yeah.
I mean, because Endgame is the number one of all time. But Spidey made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
In and of itself.
Because I think Tom Holland is just a likable cat, you know?
Oh, he's amazing.
And I'd say, okay, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, he was a nerd, but he was
Yes.
an elite nerd, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Whereas Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he's a vulnerable, excitable child.
Yes.
You know, and more to the Peter Parker of the comic books.
Right.
So, you know.
He's amazing.
But you can tell my limited knowledge of the Marvel Universe, because I have no idea, you know, about all this stuff. Because the thing is...
So I'm surprised you're bringing it up.
Well, no, I'm bringing it up because, you know, Yogi, and it's
I know.
something that you wanted.
It makes me happy.
Yes.
Well, right now this does not make me
No, it
happy,
doesn't
but
make you
Marvel
happy.
makes me happy.
And the reason is that I'm not a big fan of the comic book movies because they're all... I don't want to say they're all the same, but, you know, it's Tom Cruise-ish.
No, it's not. But that's okay, guys. I have this argument with him a lot.
Yeah, it's
so.
okay. It's okay. But, you know, she likes Marvel. I like... Nothing. I didn't even like DC. But then again, I don't think anybody likes the DC movies, you know.
Our boys do.
Well, you know, Affleck, man. It's a shame. He was the bomb in Batman.
Phantoms. Right.
So,
Okay.
So, before we move on, guys, I just want to give you guys a heads up.
Batman hasn't been the same since, you know, Clooney and the Bat Nips.
No. Well, I don't know. Christian Bale was awesome.
I know, but you know.
Because he's Christian Bale.
But Bat Nips.
Bat Nips, yeah. And Bat Crotch.
Why
was Alicia Silverstone the only Batman character not to get Bat Nips? Robin got them.
Only
Batman
in that
got them.
movie. Because it would be, you can't put Bat Nips on Batgirl.
Can't put Bat Nips on Batman, but
You
there
can't.
you go.
Well, yeah, but but male toplessness is allowed.
Yeah, I know.
Did you really just ask?
I was trying to be, you know, level.
This is what I live with.
Hey, it's a 90s Alicia Silverstone.
Okay.
We're just going to stop right here. Okay, because I've opened Pandora's box, as it were. And talking to Pandora, guys, if you were listening to this right now, by the time this comes out, I'll have submitted the feed to Pandora. So we might be on there, we might not. I will give you a definite heads up when it's going to happen. I try to get back on Google this week, as the time we're recording, and we're not going to be on Google Podcasts. It's just, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, I can't fix it. I'm going to try again in about 6 months, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Also, we've recently launched our Patreon page, guys.
Yes.
If you were interested in helping support, keep the lights on, everything like that, you know, little as $1 a month, that would be really, really beneficial to us. And, you know, we've got some things that we're doing as well for people who pledge. But, you know, if you guys can do that, that would be fantastic, because we do want to grow and we do want to do more things. And that's just, you know, the position that we're in right now. And, you know, again, I don't like giving something for nothing, so we will have some more stuff, but
absolutely,
the more that we have, the more that we can do, so to speak. So also, if you guys are on social media, look up Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Look up Because Maybe Network. That's where we're at. Go to bit.ly/bm network-YouTube. Thank you very much for that. And of course, right now we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. And over the next couple of weeks, like I mentioned, Pandora, we're going to try and look at iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and anywhere good podcasts are found.
Woohoo!
And so, yeah. So
where do you listen to podcasts, people? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know so that we can, you know, expand our horizons.
So we can beg them.
Yeah, so we can beg them. Hey,
please take us.
Yeah, and also, you know, just like I mentioned, the episodes are uploaded to YouTube 1 week after they're released on the audio feed.
Yes.
That way, for those people who listen to YouTube podcasts through YouTube, which I don't understand really, but oh well, we're on there. Our YouTube channel, by the way.
Listen to him. You guys are awesome.
No, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. On our YouTube channel, we have video games walkthroughs. We have sample episodes, and those might be moving to Facebook. Not like as in we're taking off one platform into another. We're just gonna, you know, add them
Not
to
moving,
Facebook.
add them.
Yes.
They'll also be available.
Okay, my language skills are underdeveloped today.
That's why I'm here.
Yes, it's first thing in the morning on a hot day in Louisiana, so you know. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up for a moment, and we'll be right back to talk about the breakthrough album of one of the most important bands of the 90s.
To a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's like a sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore. So quit my wedding cause it's bringing her down. Welcome to paradise.
Review Corner.
All right, guys, so here we are. We're going to be talking about Dookie by Green Day.
Yes.
An album that has got the most ridiculous, childish name possible, but ironically, like the Blink-182 album that we did a couple of months ago, is surprisingly deeper than it's given credit for.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. But, I mean, this is the album that kids loved asking for their parents to pick it up for them.
Can I get Dookie? I mean, just...
Yeah.
I mean,
it's every, 13-year-old boys or girls, in my case.
Yeah.
Well, no. Wait. That was 94, 15. Yeah.
No, you were 13.
13?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
13 in 94. Yeah. And I was 10.
Aw.
Yeah, I was your little baby.
I was Utsy.
It's a birthday.
Yeah.
But no, and in fact, it came out on my sister's birthday in 94.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Happy birthday. Here's Dookie.
Right.
But like I said, it's a childish name, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as we'll find out here as we move along, it's actually more deep than its name suggests. Billie Joe Armstrong was going through a lot and kind of poured his heart and soul into this album while keeping the pop punk vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this album was released February 1st, 1994.
Mm-hmm. Good year.
It was a very good year. That was the year of Definitely Maybe, Parklife.
It's a good year musically.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crap year for Kurt, but that's okay.
Oh, he lived the best life, and
yes. Anywho,
you blame Dave for that. No, I'm just kidding. It reached number 2 in the Billboard in the United States and number 13 in the United Kingdom, which surprises me a little bit because here's the thing, right? In the Billboard charts at the time, I think you do top 40 albums?
Yeah.
In the UK, we only did top 10 albums.
Really?
So even though there was, a ranking underneath the top 10, obviously, like, singles coming in at number 65 or whatever, we only really counted the top 10. So the fact that it wasn't even a top 10 album in the UK kind of surprises me because, I first heard of this album on MTV2, surprisingly enough.
Here we had Casey Kasem and then Rick Dees and the weekly top 40.
Oh.
Depending on what station or coast you were on. But those, I think the Casey Kasem one now, that's the one Seacrest took over. Yeah.
I think so. Swing Scoop! Green Bay number 5!
Right. Yeah, but...
For those who don't know, Casey Kasem was the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, so...
Yes.
But, in the UK we had Noel Edmonds, I think it was, and I always remember my cousin would always record the top 40 every week, and I'm like, but he never listened to it. I think everybody recorded the top 40 and never listened to it the next week, and he used the same tape every week.
Okay.
So, I don't know. People are weird. But, so this was produced by Billie Joe Armstrong, Trey Cool and Mike Dirnt of Green Day, Rob Cavallo, and Jerry Finn. Jerry Finn became like the godfather of this kind of music scene. People who wanted a nice, clean, crisp sound and for it to be polished while still maintaining the musical side of things. Maybe not the production aesthetic, but definitely the raw music aspect of it. It sold between 12 and 14 million copies, so it's a worldwide smash. Selling 14 million albums in the mid-90s for a rock band at the early part of the 90s, early to mid, was kind of, unusual at the time. Because a lot of pop acts were still trying to get their way in there, and, the big bands were only selling 2, 3, 4 million copies. So for something to sell 12, Yeah, but it's also, for 12 to 14, but this is also in that era that's post, metal heyday and in the midst of grunge. And Green Day aren't grunge. No.
So, they were rock, but not that. They weren't, they were post 80s hair band metal.
I guess you could describe it. And I think the only reason they were classed as pop punk was because of the production of the stuff.
Right.
If they made it raw or rawer, it could have been...
It would have been grungy.
Yeah, not so much necessarily grungy, but more authentic punk, I guess. So what happened, right, is that they released an album called Kaplunk, and it was a huge hit underground.
Right.
It was fantastic, It got them a lot of credibility, and it brought them to the attention of, the major labels, and they signed for Reprise. Mm-hmm. And because Rob Cavallo was the only person we could talk to and connect with.
Right.
And you know what? In the 90s, I think that was more important than money to a lot of the artists. I mean, you hear.
They needed someone that they felt could represent them or connect with them.
Yeah, I mean, Nirvana said that with Butch Vig. And, Blur said it with Food Records, Oasis said it with Creation Records. It wasn't necessarily the money, it was the artistic control that helped them out. But the sign-in to the major label didn't endear themselves to the scene at all.
Right.
They left, even though they left their previous label on good terms, the Gremlin Club, which is a notorious punk club, banned them for life for selling out.
Yeah, depending on where you stand on the punk scene, this was Green Day's sellout album, so, now there's a lot of people that don't think so, but your punk purists, this is sort of like the decline of Green Day.
And I've never understood the selling out thing. I never understood it, right? Because a couple of the songs on this album, they re-recorded the versions from Kaplunk, right?
Right.
So they're still making the same music. You and I watched many times the Ray Charles movie, right? And he went from that, Hit the Road Jack and, all that stuff. And then Georgia on My Mind when he changed labels.
Right.
And people thought he was selling out, but that was his decision. It wasn't as if they went into the record label and the label said, you have to change your complete musical style. There's growth
as artists. And people don't take the... But that's the whole... that's a mindset. Because when you're small and you're underground... there's a level of quote unquote ownership for your fans, like you're theirs, and your art is for them, which it is, because that's what attracted them to, but they don't want to let you go so that other people can enjoy the same thing, So I remember reading an interview on the topic of selling out. I remember reading an interview years ago with Trent Reznor, and I'm paraphrasing this, but he was talking about how when he was really struggling right around Downward Spiral because he got a hold of a lot of sellout, shtick too. But actually, of all people to sort of talk him around on that, it was Bono. So Bono basically just said, look, you're writing things that are connecting with people and you're based here. So why shouldn't somebody in Ohio get the chance to be moved by your art? You know what I mean? It's not selling out. It's broadening your, not even so much fan base, but reachability. Yeah. Your impact. That's what I'm looking for. And again, I'm paraphrasing it because it's been a while since I've read this.
I understand what you mean.
But it's the same concept.
One of my favorite books is Mick Foley's first autobiography, and he even puts it in his thing. I've been serenaded with "You Sold Out" chants. Well, let's take a look. I like to do what I do. I like to do what I do for money.
Right.
And
you gotta pay the bills.
And I like to do it in front of a lot of people. Well, since I've started working here, I've made more money. I've had some of my best work, and I'm doing it in front of more people. I haven't sold out.
Yeah, but the history of art, there's always going to people. Even from painters back in the day, there's always, as soon as something is done and people can see that it's or someone can perceive that you're not making art for the sake of art, you're doing it for money.
Yeah.
At that point, people just, they get all up in their fifis.
And I guess it's I don't understand it. I don't get it. I understand why they do, but I don't get why they do it. If that makes sense. Because art is subjective, obviously, and as I went on my rant last week about supporting your local music scene, it is important to support your local music scene. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, it is.
If your goal as part of your local music scene is to expand to another, to expand your outreach, as you said, I don't get why people would be upset with that. If I like a cheeseburger, I'm going to want other people to eat this cheeseburger.
Right.
So I don't know. I've never understood the selling out thing, and but it did cause a lot of their hardcore fan base to never listen to them again.
Right.
It's just unique to me. The album was actually remixed a couple of times. They tried it themselves. They tried it with Rob Cavallo, and then they brought Jerry Finn on board. And I think we mentioned earlier, Jerry Finn became like the godfather of the pop punk sound. He went on to work with The Offspring, Blink-182, Sum 41. You know, all the bands that you associate with this kind of sound, the punky, clean kind of thing. You know, he was a very good polisher of albums. Polisher of artists.
Sort of like the Spectre of punk.
Yeah. And you know, he was a damn talented man, and he is missed. You know, he's a damn good producer. But the album kept with Green Day's aesthetic of writing personal songs.
Right.
But this album was more dominated by Billie Joe Armstrong's life than most of the other albums.
Yeah, he was going through some things.
I mean, you know, this was a rough time in his life, and as we'll go through here in some of the tracks, you know, he wrote some good stuff, and he wrote some great stuff, and he wrote some okay stuff.
That's every album, though.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, this album was really, really good. Now, before we go ahead and start talking, we usually do a track by track.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of research going into this. And I could find very little, if anything, about some of the tracks on this album, about what they're about. So I want to apologize in advance if this seems a little incomplete. But, like I said, we worked hard researching this, and this is, you know, the stuff that we've got, we will talk in depth on. But, you know, we didn't get every single track on this album, like we've done with other tracks that we've done in the past. So I just want to make that clear right now. So this is a 15-track album. Billie Joe Armstrong performs basically the guitars, Mike Dirnt is bass and backing vocals, and Trey Cool drummer and lead vocals on a couple of tracks. One of my favorite Green Day tracks is done by Trey Cool. So we'll get with that when it comes time. So let's start with Longview.
Okay.
This was like one of the first songs on the album to come out.
Right.
Very, very distinctive bass line.
Well, yeah.
I think it's a really, really good, I don't want to say trippy, but, you know, it's very, very... The song is basically centered around that bass line.
Well, yeah.
Very difficult to play.
Yeah, I can imagine.
If you were, you know, heavy-handed and got 6 fingers like I've got. But it was originally written when Mike Dirnt was on LSD and just completely nearly bombed out of his mind and just started ripping this sequence together, and boom, it became. It's a song about boredom. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these tracks are songs about boredom, sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, people say that teenage years are the hardest growth of your life. I think your early 20s are even harder. Because you've got the responsibility but no direction. Whereas with teenagers, you've got no direction but you're still growing. By the time you hit a certain age, people expect you to be grown, and you still got to find your feet. And that's what kind of this track is about. What do you think of Longview? The song, not the town.
Yeah, because we don't live that far from Longview, Texas. And that bass line, every time I drive through it, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the first songs you think of when you think of this album. And for some people, that bass line, I mean, when you think of classic Green Day, that's the first thing that pops in your head.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a brilliant track. The ability to take boredom and this goes for the whole album, basically, but the ability to take the subject of being so bored, but being articulate your boredom this well, is, I mean, that just shows who they are as lyricists.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
because it is hard to put in, you know, when people say they're bored, they don't understand why they're bored, but the fact that he was able to do it, you know, I mean, he literally said in this song that he doesn't want to cook, he doesn't want to eat, he doesn't want to go out, he's sitting at home, and, excuse my language, even jerking off is not fun anymore, you know, and for a guy to admit something like that, that's, you know, that's...
Right.
Like
you're bored. You're that bored because you're not in a good place.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, because day-to-day stuff is mundane, and it's depressing, and you don't have enough going on to keep you busy away from the mundane when all you have is just the basic day-to-day BS and you're done. I mean, there's
and nothing to look forward to either,
right?
Because you can even put excitement in, I might be bored now, but I've got this coming, and now it's like,
right.
So Welcome to Paradise. This was re-recorded off off Kaplunk. Dang good song. Very energetic, very, very upbeat. In terms of the
it is a good song.
Yeah. It's got a lot of the hallmarks that come along for the album. Very, very short, very, very fast paced, and good harmonies. C major chord sequence. But again, this was not necessarily talking about boredom, but this is what we got. Welcome to Paradise.
Right.
This is life. This is life. This is as good as it gets. And again, good song, good energy to it. Very, very well written lyrics again.
And it tapped into. I mean, while Green Day aren't grunge, punk and grunge share that working class
commonality.
Right. Like, there's same thing with Nirvana. You go, you're either staying at home getting effed up, or you're doing the same BS, 9 to 5, soul killing, whatever, every day. And that's all you have.
It resonated with,
right.
Because remember, Nirvana was, I don't say more teenage or anything like that, but I mean, when folks started listening to Nirvana, they were younger, right?
Right.
Late teens, early 20s. And by the time Green Day came around, those same people were listening to the Green Day, and it was more... It's like when you watch a kid show that... Okay, Harry Potter is a great example, right? The first two Harry Potter books are kid books because they're centered around 11 and 12-year-olds.
Right.
But by the time you get to the last Harry Potter books, they're 16 or 17,
right.
And it's a completely different dichotomy.
You can identify more with them.
So this resonated with the Nirvana fans, or the grunge fans, I should say, who were a little older and a little bit more jaded.
Yeah. This, Gen Xers. Yeah. So...
Is Gen X the millennials, or is that Gen Y?
No, Gen Y is millennials.
Gen Y is millennials. Now, for those people who don't understand, let me say this. When you say millennials, you mean people between the age of 30 and 40. Not teenagers and 20-year-olds. It's between 30 and 40.
Not quite. Well, ish.
Okay, between 25 and 35. Or 25 and 37, something like that.
Yes.
I'm a millennial. It doesn't mean...
Technically, I'm a Gen Xer, and there's only 3 years between us.
Yes.
So...
You're a Zennial, aren't you? Zennial, yes.
I'm that tail end. Yeah. So
tail end of one, beginning of another.
Right.
So, all right, then
we're going to do an episode on Zennials at some point.
Yes, we probably will. Probably will soon, actually. But anyway, Basket Case.
Ah, yes.
The song on the album, the recognizable worldwide smash hit. And this is how I got introduced to Green Day.
Yeah.
I was...
It's Longview or Basket Case is usually, depending on what radio market you were in, or when I come around.
Yeah. For me, like I mentioned, Basket Case was on something called... There was a TV show on MTV2, right? In the UK. Or in Europe, sorry. MTV didn't do UK.
They still played music then.
They still played music. MTV2 had... Viewers Choice Hour or something like that, and you go onto their website and you pick like 15 or 16 songs.
It's like Total Request Live.
Yeah, but you'd pick 15 or 16 songs, and then they would play those 15 or 16 songs, whatever. And like I'd be watching this while doing my work and everything, and Basket Case, When I Come Around Longview were always... Right. Every couple of hours, at least one of those songs were on, and I went into it. This is basically... tale of Billie Joe Armstrong's depression and panic and anxiety at the time.
Right.
It was... The video is set in a mental hospital too, which I love the subtlety to that, It's like,
not really subtle.
Well, no, but you
I know what you mean.
You know what you mean. It was like, Yeah. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But,
anxiety and panic disorder.
yes. And, you know, it's also him coming to terms with who he was.
Right.
Because in verse 3, right, he says, I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about, I went to a who said my life's a bore. Now, what people don't know is the quote-unquote he went to was a male prostitute.
Ah.
And he wanted to challenge the listener to make sure that, you know, things weren't black and white, you know? Because the first thought when a rock singer sings, I went to a they think prostitute, female, you know, and it wasn't. You know, it was Billie Joe trying to come to terms with his bisexuality, which is a theme of this, which is one of the major themes of this album.
Right.
You know, because he was struggling with who he was.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people do struggle with that and don't really know who they are until later in life, you know. But it's a damn good song, worldwide smash. Some great progression. The drumming on it is like wild, I guess you could say.
Yes.
And you know, it was lyrically really good as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. And I'll say this. I'll touch more on it later. But I think Billie Joe Armstrong is a very underrated lyricist in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean it's very Lennon McCartney punk. In the sense that, you know, the lyrics are very, you know, strong, and the melody is it's more up and down, you know what I mean? So it's really well written. Well written.
And
yes.
you know, but yeah, so basically it's like I said, that's what introduced a lot of people worldwide to the band, and you know, it's gonna still be played maybe 15, 20, 30 years from now, and it's been 15, 20 years since this 25 years since it came out. Oh my god. Yeah. So the next song is called She.
Yes.
Right? And yeah, it was inspired by his ex-girlfriend showing him a poem about feminism. And called She. Now, I've not read the poem or heard the poem. That's where it was inspired from. But this is one of like many songs that Billie Joe Armstrong wrote about this ex-girlfriend. He took the breakup very, very difficult because she moved with the Peace Corps to Ecuador. Right. So he wrote She. Sassafras Roots, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Right.
The song Chump, which is on this album. Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, and the song What's Her Name off American Idiot.
Right.
So that's a huge back catalogue. You know, 3 songs on one album, and then like the second biggest hit that they had. Right. Which was played at every prom in the mid-90s without realizing. It's like the people who play One at the wedding without realizing that it's a breakup song.
Jesus, yes.
I think our song is like a breakup song, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, oops.
Yeah, but it resonated with both of us. But you know, it showed that Billie Joe had like a what's the word I'm looking for? Not vindictive side, but definitely a compulsive side. Yes. Because, you know, he wrote 3 songs about this one person. You know, it's not Damon Albarn writing 13 about Justine Frischman bad, but, you know, considering that this ex-girlfriend ended up on 3 of their biggest albums, you know, maybe if they want to be bigger again, that he needs to write more about her again. I don't know. You know, it's just it to me again, like with the selling out thing, it just seemed very, very weird. You know, to put that much stock in.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, when one person, you know, I think. And people are capable of loving multiple people over the course of their lifetime, and you love different people in different ways. You know, you'll never, even if, you know, something happens and you are married more than once, or, you know, you're widowed and you marry again, or have, you know, another committed relationship, however, there's always, even if you're hurt by different people, there's always one that's going to sting a little more than the rest.
True.
And it could be due to, and usually it's, when you're younger, because there's that more vulnerable part of you, you know what I mean? That you gave to them. And if it doesn't work, I mean, that's the
younger you are, the harder you love.
Right. I don't know if I'd say the harder you love, but it's a different. It's not a pure, but it comes from a more innocent part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not jaded as much when you're younger, and the world hasn't beaten the snot out of you as much, and so you have more to give. And when that person does that, or when it doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, that one's always going to smart a bit more than the rest. So I could definitely see
where that was coming from.
Yeah.
And all these songs that he wrote, about as we move on to Sassafras Roots for a minute, right? Not all the songs are happy songs. And what I mean by that is, if you look through, I mentioned 13 by Blue, right? That was Damon Albarn's big breakup to Justine Frischman. It was, I'm sorry, we're over, I understand that, and here's some good times that we shared, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
The song Sassafras Roots is kind of his more song for the dumped, so to speak. Ben, for those who don't know, Ben Folds 5 released a song called Song for the Dumped. And basically the chorus goes, "Give me my money back, you." I wish I hadn't bought you dinner before you dumped me on my front porch,
Right.
So this song, he talks about all the things that they did that she did that wasted his time, and how if they ever got back together, he would do everything to waste her time, to know how, it's very, very spiteful, very, very...
It's petty.
It's petty. Very,
he put
very
his petty Betty hat on.
And not just it's just his anger.
He's hurt.
Situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, folks do get hurt when they get dumped.
But again, I mean, art, the best art comes from immense joy and immense pain. I mean, that's not saying that people don't make great art on a melancholy day or a regular mundane day.
Yeah.
But usually, the stuff that has the most emotional attachment, that resonates more, comes from you're either in a really good place or you're not. I mean, so
it's no coincidence, right, that the best music eras came after political strife,
discord.
The 70s, the 90s,
right,
the 80s. Look, I crack on 80s music all the time because of the but the 80s did have a lot of good music as well.
Right.
The 80s was fantastic music.
Power ballads,
power ballads, but not even just power ballads, just everything else too.
Right.
Art, modern art, comedy, movies, they all came after political strife, and the guys and gals who made them grew up in those areas that were most affected by the political BS that was going on, and when things are quote unquote happier or more stable, the art doesn't necessarily reach the high quality.
Well, yeah, but it also, I mean, it touches, but it goes back to that whole boredom thing.
Yeah.
Because poor and working class people are the ones that are most affected by political changes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones who, if you have enough money, whoever's in the White House, it doesn't really affect you.
Or number 10.
Well, this is true, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whoever is in charge, the HBIC, it doesn't, it doesn't affect you as much. But it all goes back, to what we were saying earlier about joy and pain.
Yeah.
And Billie Joe, that was what, 3-4 songs. Look at Adele.
Yeah.
She did 2 albums off one breakup.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean...
And there's a new one coming out soon, sadly.
Well, yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I don't wish breakups on anybody.
No.
You know?
But unless you're one of those people, unless you're a professional songwriter and the kind that are talented enough to crank that, like the Carole King, I mean, unless
Desmond Child,
right? Unless you're Burt Bacharach, whatever. Unless you're, and they don't even have those songwriting, houses anymore like they used to.
No,
but
I think only Nashville has those kind of things now.
But I mean, unless you're one of those, and even then, you're having to tap into something. You know what I mean? But usually, that stuff comes immediately related, related to something, after something, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Now, there's some people, again, who are very prolific with their songwriting, who can tap, they're gifted in the fact that they don't have to wait for good and bad things to happen. They can just tap into,
inspiration,
losing their cat when they were 4. And then next thing you know, you've got the most, Michael Jackson writing about his pet mouse. I mean, so poor Ben. But you see what I'm saying? I mean,
I mean, it's what was the best way to say this? I mean, I understand.
It's a whole tortured artist thing.
Yeah, I think It's no coincidence, I guess, that by the time the 3rd or 4th album comes around, for example, when life gets easier for the writer,
it's harder
to come in. I mean, one of my favorite musicians, one of your favorite musicians, Noel Gallagher. You listen to like the 4th album that Oasis did, which I know is your favorite album.
Yes.
But even he said that he was coming at it from a place of just doing it to do it,
Right.
And it took another album of weeding through the grass to get his mojo back. And then Oasis recorded album number 6, which was, in my opinion, their second best album.
Right.
Sorry for all you Morning Glory fans out there. It's not. But then you look at other artists too, and I mean, you're right. People people draw upon any inspiration that they can to get it out the door. And I think my own personal songwriting stuff, it's no coincidence that I haven't written much in 5 years.
Right.
Because I've got nothing to write about, because now I've got what I wanted, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have nothing to pine for. What am I going to write about supper tomorrow night? Ode to
Meatloaf.
Yeah, probably going to be Meatloaf. If not tonight.
Right.
Okay, enough philosophical nonsense right now. No, I'm just joking about that. I love going off on those tangents because it makes me sound more intelligent than I actually am. Okay, When I Come Around.
Yes.
My favorite Green Day song.
Yes.
I love this song, and it says a lot about me and the style of music that I like. That this sounds the most quote unquote British.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, it's not fast-paced, it's medium-paced, it's got a guitar solo,
right?
It's got a sing-along chorus,
yes.
So that tells the kind of music that I enjoy the most. This was... now, he had the breakup with his girlfriend many, many years before this. He's married at this point, and they argued. They had like a knockdown, drag-out, and he left for a couple of days.
He took a walk. Yeah.
And it's more traditional style rock song as opposed to the punk elements that came through to it. The album, not the album, excuse me, the song. It's kind of how guys see the end of arguments, right? And what I mean,
pray tell, Mr. Connolly.
What I mean by that is it's his way of saying, yeah, I was wrong, but you were wrong too.
Right.
And because the modern perception is that the woman's always right and the man's always wrong, and
that's such horse crap.
Well, I mean,
I'm wrong all the time.
But I mean, like the trope,
right.
the trope is that the husband is wrong, the wife is right.
Right.
Happy wife, happy life. You can either be right or happy. You know, all those.
Now, sometimes right or happy is true, but that's not. But that has less to do with the sex of the person that you're arguing with, and just, I mean, you know, how pedantic are we going to be today?
Yeah, but none of those things are true. It's a tired trope. You know, it's a tired sexist trope. And he tapped into that, I guess, from the other point of view. It's like, you know, I heard you crying all the way over town. I'm a loser, and blah, 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 blah. And he's saying, look, you know, I did some bad stuff. You did some bad stuff.
Right.
Let's just make up. Let's put it behind us. Let's get over it. And one of the things I love about this song is the fact that it's so easy to play. I guess that's another reason why this is one of my favorite songs, because it is easy, 4-chord rock, you know.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Sidebar. So
you were always right.
Y'all, he's trying. When you're talking about, you know, it's the most British sounding, you know, of the songs on here, and in more traditional rock, does that not just translate to somebody can make a football chant out of it? and I'm not saying this to be but seriously, surely there is.
It's more okay. When I say by more British, right? The top British musicians are musical rock acts of all time.
Right.
Right. Anthem.
Yes, I get that.
And this
they make football chants out of.
Yes.
Okay, so
I mean, yeah, this could be worked into a football chant. Somebody
has at some point. Probably mid 90s, whatever.
But
yeah.
I mean, this is the most anthematic song on the album.
Oh, you know, it is. But as a Brit, I mean, just are you naturally drawn to things that someone can make a football chant out of?
Possibly. Yeah,
yeah.
It's, you know.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this is the thing. Football chants have penetrated every other area of British sport now. The bloody darts get football chants.
Y'all have chants at darts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Snooker chants.
Oh, no, but not a snooker. No, that's more refined.
Wait, stop. Wait a minute. Okay. You won't chant at somebody popping balls around on a table, but when someone is slinging sharp objects, you're going to, hey, batter, swing him?
Not necessarily. No. It's like, I throw my three, right? And then there's something in there. And then in between the games, I mean, you got to understand, right? When I first started watching darts in the early 90s, the guys would just literally walk on stage.
I love the fact that y'all have, like, televised darts.
Oh, yeah. 2 world championships.
God. Oh, Jesus.
They just get up there, they throw their arrows, they drink the drink, blah, 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 blah. By like the early 2000s, I mean, they were putting WWE to shame with their entrances. Guys coming down in Ric Flair style robes with background music, you know.
This is amazing.
Yeah, look.
My mom played darts in the wrong country. Or wait, are there like, do women get the same? Is it co-ed?
No, it's not co-ed.
But it's darts. It's regulation height.
I know. I'm with there are certain games that I agree should be co-ed. Darts, snooker, pool,
bowling,
anything that doesn't require quote unquote physical strength, because there's some dudes who are huge, some women who are small, and everything in between. And you know, look, you can look at me like that all you want to, but the thing is, the 100-meter dash, the male world record is a full second faster than the female world record. You know?
No. I mean, that's not what I'm. I mean, that's not what I'm. What if it's you and a thing?
Yeah.
It should be co-ed.
I know.
If it's like you and a ball in a lane, if it's you and a stick and a ball on a table, if it's you and a pointed thing and what? Yeah, I mean, that's BS.
But the good thing is in the darts tournament is that they're given the females do get the same screen time.
Do they get entrances?
Yeah.
I need to Google this.
You can go ahead and Google it.
We need to. Well, we're gonna post links to after this episode drops. I want to see. I want a thread of the best darts entrances.
Oh yeah. But
this is gonna happen.
Like my sisters go to the darts every year. Like
yeah, but your dad played darts for a while.
Yeah. He could have gone. He could if things had worked out a little better for him and he had the gumption to do it. He could have gone pro.
But I mean, my mom did darts and she went regional and did all kinds of stuff. But I mean, of course, here we're so big. But I mean, it's
but no, even my dad was on regional darts team and everything, and he could have actually he could have gone to qualify for the world title tournament, but he couldn't do it because he had to work.
He had a job.
He had a
jobby job.
Yeah.
My God, your dad walking out with the Ric Flair robe, feather boa.
I've seen him walk out with a Ric Flair robe once or twice, getting out the tub. But
feather boa and sequins. Oh yes.
The Coleman, he would have been called, because they've all got nicknames too.
Yeah, of course.
So
sorry guys, we went off on a whole working class tangent that just
We'll do a random episode one day, and no one will speak about one thing the whole time.
Yeah. Y'all know y'all miss me. Okay.
So, Coming Clean. Mm-hmm. This was Billie Joe Armstrong's outing song.
Yes.
This is where he outed himself. This is where he came out as a bisexual man. And this is basically his coming to terms with who and what he is.
Right.
And, he even said himself that this is something that comes up as a struggle in me all the time. Mm-hmm. And, it's if you are struggling with who you are, it does affect you very, very much. It's even if you've become accustomed to it, even if you've outed yourself years and years and years ago, it can still come and bother you.
Right.
If you haven't come to terms with it. And by coming to terms with it, it's like, we're trained in this world that, the quote unquote normal thing is to be straight. And he was struggling with that.
Especially then. Not so much now, but especially then.
I mean, because, I think we touched on this before, but like the early 90s basically the early 90s was the last era where mainstream wise being gay was not forbidden but necessarily hush hush,
right.
And the mid 90s it became quote unquote acceptable, which is stupid, but at the time, it was accepted, but it was also poked fun at a lot too. And it's
pre Will and Grace, post Will and Grace.
Pre Elton John, post Elton John. I think it was kind of about 99 where it became quote unquote acceptable, not acceptable but normal, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then also on top of the societal and religious stigma, whatever you wanted to place on it. You also had post 80s and the AIDS epidemic. Yeah. There was so much,
stigma still.
There was stigma because then ignorant people would, they would find out someone is gay and, oh my God, do they have HIV?
Yeah.
Do they, you know what I mean? Like it suddenly meant, quote unquote unclean. Yeah. Which is just whatever.
And I mean, at the time too, in rock music, it was all get the girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially in
rock music.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you say especially rock music, here's the thing. Pop, you could get away with it. But rock music is still very masculine driven. Rock, rap, country music.
Yeah.
Those masculine genres, because some people still see, equate homosexuality as being less effeminate. Right, as effeminate. You're less masculine, which is just ridiculous.
It's really funny when you look at a city like Newcastle, right in England,
right,
and Newcastle is a very, very tough macho city, but it is also populated by the largest bear community in the UK.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what a bear is, you take a look at like a normal hard working...
If Larry the Cable Guy was gay, he'd be a bear.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
It proves that you can be quote unquote traditionally masculine and still be gay, Right. And I guess, in rock music, I think at the time, right? By the mid 90s, Freddie Mercury, Elton John. I don't even think Elton John was out at that.
No, but then Freddie, you also had, he passed of AIDS. Bowie,
it was an open secret with Bowie.
Yeah, well, same thing. I mean, if you knew where to listen with Trent, too, with Trent Reznor.
Prince?
So, Prince,
But that was it. And now, since this time, and even the grunge movement, right? The grunge movement, I don't think it had many openly gay performers in there, but they definitely were welcoming. We've spoken about that in the past, that the grunge movement was very, very welcoming. It was, lack of a better term, it was a male feminist movement.
Right, and then you had Stipe.
Stipe was later.
Yeah, but everybody knew.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if you didn't know, you knew.
Yeah, it was. You suspected, I guess, is the better way to say it.
And there's still some that I wonder. And I mean, it's absolutely none of my business.
No,
but like, there's some people, and I say wonder. There are some people that are so in touch with their, quote unquote, feminine side or whatever.
Yeah.
That you contemplate, and again, you shouldn't. That is such a BS thing for me to say. But it's human nature.
Not even that. Acknowledging that something's incorrect is one thing. People got to remember that that we grew up in a different time. And while those things, that's a cop-out. Well, I understand it's a cop-out, but you only know something is wrong when you're told something is wrong.
Right.
It's like, parents who immediately spank their kids for saying a swear word. How do they know it's a bad word?
Right.
I can explain it to them first.
Right.
And if they keep doing it, then there's a problem. But, if we've been learned a certain way of life, it's we have to get around it, and we have to change our ways. That's great, but we have to know what we're saying is wrong first.
Right. Sorry, another tangent.
No, but it is relevant to the more relevant to the album, because rock music is a quote unquote macho place. It is talking about getting the girls. Even the ironic thing is, a lot of the female rock stars, lead singers, a lot of them are gay themselves.
Joan Jett.
I think the biggest one right now is Beth Ditto. It's like it's still all about getting the chicks and stuff like that. So it's
which is hilarious when you're coming post 80s when. You want to talk about, look at Poison. My God. They all looked like chicks. Motley Crue back in the day.
Yeah.
Those hair metal, but those are some pretty boys.
It was very,
yet it was all about, girls.
Yeah. They looked androgynous, but they were, they were very, very masculine and manly men, which is,
It's such a dichotomy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm fully in the grunge type of thing where you can be whoever you want to be. As long as you're not a supremacist, you are welcome. You're welcome at our pool. So okay, going back to Green Day.
Sorry,
but no, these kind of things are important because this shows the influence at the time that caused them to write the songs that they wrote, and why the albums and the art was the way it was. One of my favorite Green Day songs, names, not necessarily the song, is called FOD. Mm-hmm. And I don't know too much about it, but I guess you can tell by the title. FOD stands for F off and die. Mm-hmm. And then the final song on the album,
yay, yay,
is like, it's called All By Myself.
Yes.
And it was written by drummer Trey Cool, performed by drummer Trey Cool, and it is the second song on the album that talks about having a...
Yes.
I was alone.
I was all by myself. Oh, God, I love this song.
It is a song, and I think,
It is the weirdest damn song, and when you listen to it now, it's just like, because he went into a room... So he snuck into her house, went into her room, and on her bed, which is horrible.
Now.
It's disgusting. But as a 13-year-old, you're like, oh my God. So yeah, it's
boys have come a long way since then, I'd like to think.
No, they haven't. Well, you wouldn't break anybody's house, but I mean, there's
No.
if somebody could get away with a song about
Yeah.
a funny song about
Green
it's
Day.
timeless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. And
Even now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I mean, somebody could release a funny song about now, and it might not play on the radio, but I mean...
And I think this also proved a lot of things, too, is that a lot of people were more looser in the 90s.
I mean... Yeah, because, I mean, look at I Touch Myself, that song too.
Yeah.
So there were lots of songs about sexuality and getting your self-love. Self-love, yes.
Pulp probably wrote, like, albums of it. God bless you, Jarvis. I love you, man. But
Yes.
no, I mean, it was a lot of bands did that at that time. They always recorded one ridiculous song and put it on their album.
And it's always at the end, like you had to wait like 15, 20 minutes. Like you wondered why that last track was like 27 minutes long. And yeah.
I was up on myself. Yeah. So
They can't do that now.
No, because of streaming and stuff.
Bonus tracks right now. That is so sad. Like there's a whole generation that has missed out on bonus tracks.
Bonus tracks, B-sides.
Bonus tracks, B-sides,
Imports.
imports, good prizes in the cereal box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, newspapers would give away CDs with demos of, like, bands releasing demos to the newspaper. Not the finished track, just the
That
demos.
was more of a Brit thing.
Okay.
Over here, like, I used to get all of my CDs. I would have to go to my local Books A Million and catch Brit magazines that had, like, one of my favorites, even to this day, is Q Best of the Best 97. That was a damn good one.
Q did that a lot.
Yeah. So, but those releases with whatever, I remember I have a cassette somewhere from Sassy Magazine. They did one time, back in the early 90s. Yeah, that was usually a magazine, but it was really hard to, usually you only got those like if you subscribed to something.
Yeah.
Over here, it was pretty much, you ordered Time Life collections.
Hey, do you want every song from the 80s? How much did you pay for it? Wait, don't answer.
Oh, no. I mean, okay, so we need to do a poll to find out who, make a note when this drops. We need to do a poll to see how many people owned the Living in the 90s. Actually, that needs to be an episode. The Living in the 90s compilation, because everybody stateside owned it.
Okay.
Everybody.
I've got that written down.
Okay. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yes.
Too. Might even do an extra episode on it. I don't know yet. But yeah. So it's. I think one thing we've learned from this episode is how music was changing and society was changing. We kind of pinpoint when the quote unquote the cool part of the 90s began. Is like late 93, early 94. This album, 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Very, very solid. I'd give it that. I'd give it an 8 if I could find more information about the tracks that we didn't talk about. Because
okay, I give it an 8 just not from a researcher position, but just from someone who has sat down and listened to it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Back when a shuffle meant that you had a multi-disc player and like you bounced from one disc but you could only put like 5 CDs in there.
Yeah.
So and back in 94, like you had to be balling to have one of those.
We have one of those in the car, don't we?
Yeah, to donate.
Then we'll probably.
Right. But no, but I mean, now you can listen to anything, but back then, I mean, listening to music, like an album was an experience. Like you sat down when you got an album, you sat down from start to finish and you listened to everything and you listened to bonus clips because sometimes there were bonus clips between songs.
Yeah. CDs ruined that because you couldn't put like 30 seconds of No,
it could be tacked to the end of a track.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like on a vinyl album or a cassette.
Well, no, I mean like there used to be on CDs here. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so like if a song was 3 minutes, but the track would be like 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah.
There would be like a 15-second,
Yeah. I got
so.
you. And it's this album, the attitudes of this I think was his I don't give a album. This is who I am. This is what I am.
You're going to be bleeping a lot on this.
That's fine.
Bleepity bleeperton.
R2D2 is a guest star this week. That's what the editing machine is for.
Yeah.
But I think this was his I don't give a damn album, and I'll do what I want, and you can like me for who I am, or you can
like it or lump it.
Yeah, and I think that attitude went a long way to establishing them as a successful act.
All right.
And not only that, I think it went a long way in establishing the attitudes of the people who, grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because when they hear, we say it all the time, like Black Panther, for example, folks can see people on the screen who are like
it's representation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it matters.
And I know this is on a smaller scale, but this was representative of be yourself.
All right.
No matter who that is, just be yourself. If you want to be this, fine. If you want to break into people's bedrooms and all over the covers, that's fine too.
No, that's really not fine.
Yeah,
that's not fine.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
No, we here at the Because Maybe podcast do not endorse breaking in to someone's bedroom
it's common bloody sense
and knocking one out.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's disgusting.
You're not endorsing that.
But
don't leave your DNA in places that are not invited, please.
Exactly. But but the point making of that was that they were saying if it's okay to be who you are.
Yes.
I guess you could say.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was using that as comic.
Yes.
So, Billie Joe Armstrong's,
legal disclaimer.
Right? His marital troubles, his depression, his sexuality, all laid bare.
Yes.
And
he left nothing back.
No, I think this emotionally drained him. It had to have. And in spite of it being childish in the name, and a lot of the things on the album are childish, it's surprisingly deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole dichotomy.
Yeah. I think a lot of albums in this genre are like that. We talked about Blink-182's Enema of the State a couple of months back, and that is surprisingly deep.
Yes.
The Offspring Smash, surprisingly deep. So it's if you want deep music, I guess, listen to pop punk in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like such a oxymoron, but no, it's actually very, very good. This was, I guess, the foundation of all those 90s pop punk albums, that came out. The likes of The Offspring, Blink-182, they weren't directly influenced, but they saw an increase in their sales and visibility, because once you've listened to this album a few times, it's like, right, what else is out there? Well, here, try The Offspring, they're good. Try Blink-182, they're good.
Like Amazon also bots.
Yeah. And,
people who listen to this also listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. And, they went from being an underground sensation to a worldwide band, and they released some very, very good albums after that. I think, to be honest, Green Day are going to be defined, in my opinion, by 3 albums. American
Idiot, Dookie, and Nimrod. Yep.
And because of the fact that their biggest hits came from those albums.
I mean, they got a Broadway musical out of American Idiot.
Yeah. I mean, look, the album Warning is a damn good album.
Right.
But nobody really talks about it. But American Idiot was groundbreaking. Dookie, groundbreaking.
Yes.
Nimrod was was an album that they tried to write every track as like a different style of track, if that made sense.
Yeah. There's some redundance on that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom My Life's on that one. Hitching a Ride, one of my favorite Green Day tracks. I love that kind of song, the dun 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 dun, dun. So that's it, guys. That's Green Day wrapped up in a nutshell. Yeah, there you go. So what do you think of this album? Let us know on our social media pages, and we will be right back in just a moment. Alright guys, thanks for taking the time to listen to us. We've just got a few more minutes to go and then we'll be on our way. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us though. It's mega appreciated. The other projects that we keep on doing is the Because Maybe Gamer. That is currently on our YouTube. Go ahead and go watch it. Go watch me cuss and yell and scream and holler at the fact that I hit the jump button, damn it. And as I mentioned before, guys, that's not a completionist walkthrough. That's basically showing you how to get from one end of the level to the other without any hassle. Okay, if you want to go exploring, that's up to you. But for me, just getting to one end to the other is the point of the game. We've also got some other things coming on this week too. This episode will be broken up into several segments, and that will also be put this week. And of course, this episode will be moved to our YouTube page, shared to our YouTube page, I should say, this coming up Saturday. So,
Fabulous.
Sarah, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day of being, awesome to be even more awesome and helping out with this.
Well, it has been a pleasure, my dear.
It has been a pleasure. And next week...
Yes.
Next week actually starts another 3-part series.
Yes.
And we are going to be...
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. And we are going to be speaking about the most important invention.
Al Gore's internet!
Yes, we were talking about Al Gore's internet. No, basically the internet in the 90s, we'll be talking everything from chat rooms, eBay...
Usenet,
GeoCities...
not HughesNet.
No, Usenet. Yeah. Dial-up...
Yes.
How this went from a government international thing to something that literally changed everything that we do. Everything we do is due to the internet now.
Yes, ICR.
IRC even.
IRC, yeah, Internet Relay Chat on Internet Chat Relay. There.
Yahoo.
Okay. Yes.
AOL.
Yes.
And
Net TV.
Net TV. Oh, I had Net TV.
Web TV.
Web TV. Yeah.
Both. Wasn't there Net? I don't know. I had Web TV. So
I had a web TV too. And in fact, you saw my web TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but your web TV was built into your TV. I had a little cable box.
I don't know. Mine was.
Yeah, y'all sold in the 90s. Y'all sold freaking TVs with. That wasn't crazy. We didn't get that for later.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a very, very, very strange time, and we're gonna look into it as best that we can, and talk about every single thing that we can think of, as regards to the internet. Ooh. Yes. So that's coming up next week. But guys, if you like what we do, and also before I tell you if you like what we do, guys, if you check out our Patreon page, I mentioned AOL.
Yes.
If you become a $5 backer or above, I'll give you a shout out on the podcast, and I'll give you an AOL style 90s. Yeah. So basically, a lot of people will be called Star Destroyer 69420XX. Tell me if your AOL screen name didn't have 420 or 69 in it, were you really considered a badass?
Mine didn't.
Yeah, but that's coming up next week, guys. So if you were on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, look Because Maybe Network, go to bit.ly/
BMN Network dash YouTube,
because I still haven't got that custom link yet.
Yes.
Look us up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and maybe Pandora. Maybe somewhere else. But right now, we will bid you all a fond farewell and adieu, and we will see you.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Next
Toodles.
time.